Most people think November is the month to pack up the garden tools, right? The days are shorter, the air feels colder, and everything looks like it's going to sleep. But here's the truth. November is one of the most powerful planting months of the entire year. There are seeds that love the chill. They sprout stronger, taste better, and come spring, they'll already be thriving while everyone else is just starting. So, before you call it a season, stick around, because in this video, I'll show you exactly which seeds you need to sow this month, and there's a bonus seed mix recipe at the end that will save you weeks of growing time. Hey gardeners, welcome back to the channel. It's always great to have you here. If you're new, I'm all about helping you grow more with less effort. Real gardening for real people. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next week. We'll be talking about what not to plant in December, and that one alone can save you a lot of wasted seeds. Now, in today's video, we're diving into November sowing. I'll walk you through the top seeds that actually thrive in cool weather, show you how to prepare your soil, the exact way to plant each seed for strong germination, and share a few mistakes I've seen that can ruin a winter crop. Whether you're growing in raised beds, containers, or just a small patch by your window, you'll have plenty to plant and look forward to. So, grab a warm drink, settle in, and let's dig into the November garden. You'll be surprised by how much life you can grow right now. Let's start with one of the easiest and most rewarding crops to grow in November, spinach. This leafy green absolutely loves cool temperatures. In fact, if you've ever tried sowing spinach in summer and wondered why it bolted too soon, it's because it prefers the chill of late autumn. November gives it the perfect conditions: cool air, moist soil, and gentle light that helps the leaves grow thick and tender. Sow the seeds directly into well-drained, loose soil. If you're using containers, make sure they're at least 6 inches deep to allow the roots to stretch. Plant each seed about ½ inch deep and 1 inch apart, then cover them lightly with soil. Keep the surface damp, not soaked. Spinach hates sitting in water. Once the seeds sprout, thin them out so the strongest plants have room to grow. Give them at least 4 to 5 hours of sunlight a day. Even the soft November sun is enough. And here's a little bonus. If you cover your seedlings with a thin frost cloth or even an old transparent lid at night, you'll trap warmth and speed up growth.
Within 3 to 4 weeks, you'll start harvesting young baby leaves. Trust me, there's nothing like tossing fresh November spinach into your morning omelet or salad. Next up, one of my all-time November favorites, radishes. Radishes are what I call the instant gratification crop. They're perfect for impatient gardeners because they germinate fast and are ready to harvest in just about 3 to 4 weeks. The cool November weather helps them grow crisp and mild instead of hot and woody, which can happen in summer. That's why this month is ideal. The soil stays moist longer, and you don't have to worry about the heat spoiling the roots. To sow, sprinkle the seeds directly into soft, loosened soil, about ½ inch deep and 1 inch apart. You can even mix them with a handful of sand before sowing for even spacing. Keep the soil moist but not muddy. As they start growing, thin them to give each root room to expand. Full sun or partial shade both work fine, and if your area gets frost, that's okay. Radishes can handle light freezes easily. A quick tip: stagger your planting every 2 weeks through November to keep a steady harvest going into winter. Most gardeners skip radishes this time of year, but that's a mistake. The cooler it gets, the sweeter and crunchier they become. You'll be surprised how fresh they taste straight from the ground. Now, let's talk about kale, the king of cold weather greens. If there's one plant that laughs in the face of frost, it's kale. In fact, a touch of cold actually makes it taste sweeter. November is a brilliant time to start kale from seed because the soil is cool but not frozen, and the sun is gentle. Kale thrives in that balance. You can sow it directly into garden beds or in deep containers if you're short on space. To sow, plant each seed about ½ inch deep and 8 inches apart. Cover them with a fine layer of soil, pat it down lightly, and water just enough to keep it moist. Within a week or two, you'll see tiny green leaves pushing through the surface, a sign your kale is waking up. Here's something you'll love. Kale is low maintenance. Once it takes root, it practically grows itself. Just keep the soil slightly damp, and if frost threatens, don't panic. Kale handles it like a champ. The leaves become more tender and the flavor deepens. You can start harvesting baby leaves in as little as a month, or let them grow big and bold for hearty soups and stir-fries. Let me ask you this. Have you ever tried kale chips made from your own garden? If not, this is the month to make it happen. Growing kale in November gives you fresh greens that'll last well into the colder months, and honestly, nothing feels better than picking your own winter salad straight from the soil.
Moving on to one of the most satisfying crops you can grow this time of year, garlic. Garlic is like a slow-burn investment in your garden. You plant it now, in November, and by early summer, you'll have plump, flavorful bulbs ready to harvest. The trick is timing. The cool soil lets the cloves settle in and form strong roots before winter fully sets in. Choose healthy, firm garlic bulbs, not the soft ones from the supermarket. Break the bulb apart gently into individual cloves, but don't peel them. Plant each clove pointed end up, about 2 inches deep and 6 inches apart, in loose, well-draining soil. Garlic loves the sun, even in short doses during November, so aim for the brightest spot in your garden or balcony. Water thoroughly after planting, then lightly every week if the weather's dry. You don't want soggy soil. Garlic dislikes sitting in water. Here's a little pro tip. Spread a layer of straw or dry leaves over the bed after planting. It keeps the soil warm, locks in moisture, and protects your garlic from heavy frost. Think of it as a cozy blanket for your bulbs. Over the next few weeks, you'll notice little green shoots poking through. That's your garlic settling in for the winter. Come spring, those shoots will surge with new energy, and by June or July, you'll be pulling out beautiful, fragrant bulbs you grew yourself. And trust me, once you've tasted homegrown garlic, the store-bought kind will never feel the same again. It's stronger, sweeter, and far more rewarding. All right, let's talk about one of the most useful plants you can grow in your garden, onions. These little bulbs might seem ordinary, but getting them started in November sets you up for a steady harvest next year. Here's the secret. Onions love cool, steady temperatures to form strong roots before spring warmth arrives. Planting now gives them that head start, and by the time the days begin to lengthen, your onions will already be well established underground. You can start from sets, those tiny onion bulbs, or seeds. If you're using sets, plant them with the pointed end up, about 1 inch deep and 4 inches apart. For seeds, scatter them evenly in rows, cover lightly with soil, and water gently so they settle in. Onions aren't fussy, but they do appreciate sunlight. Even the low sun winter helps them build energy for bigger bulbs later. Keep the soil loose, onions hate compacted earth, and water just enough to keep it moist, not soggy. Want a little bonus tip? Sprinkle a small handful of compost or bone meal in the soil before planting. It gives them the boost they need to establish strong roots. And here's a fun part. If you're growing in containers, onions actually make great companions for other cool season crops like lettuce and spinach. They repel pests naturally, saving you the trouble of dealing with bugs. By early spring, you'll see fresh green shoots rising, and by mid-year, you'll have full, golden bulbs ready to cure and store. Growing onions from November might take patience, but once you slice into your first homegrown one, crisp, sweet, and full of flavor, you'll know it was worth the wait. And now, let's move to something every gardener loves, lettuce. There's something special about harvesting your own salad greens, especially when it's cold outside and most gardens look bare. November is a perfect month to sow lettuce because it thrives in cooler temperatures. The soil stays moist, the pests disappear, and the leaves grow crisp and full of flavor. Start by loosening the soil and mixing in a bit of compost. Lettuce loves rich, soft soil. Scatter the seeds lightly on the surface, then cover them with just a fine layer of soil, barely 1/4 inch. They need some light to germinate, so don't bury them too deep. Mist the soil gently with water, and if you're growing indoors or in trays, keep them near a sunny window or under a grow light. You'll start to see the first tiny leaves in about a week. Here's a little trick. Sow a few seeds every 2 weeks through the month of November. That way, you'll have a continuous supply of fresh lettuce leaves well into winter. Once the seedlings reach a few inches tall, thin them out slightly and keep the best ones growing. Water consistently, but don't let the soil get soggy.
And if the nights get frosty, just drape a thin cloth or plastic cover over them before bed. They'll stay warm enough to keep growing. There are so many varieties you can choose from too. Crisped romaine, tender butterhead, or colorful loose-leaf lettuces. Mix them for a vibrant winter salad garden that's as beautiful as it is tasty. Here's a bonus for you. If you harvest the outer leaves instead of cutting the whole plant, your lettuce will keep regrowing for weeks. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So tell me, are you more of a crunchy romaine fan or a soft butterhead lover? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know what you'll be sowing this month. Now, let's get into one of the most rewarding root crops you can plant this month, carrots. November might seem late for carrots, but that's exactly why it works. The soil is cool and moist, which helps the roots grow long, straight, and sweet. When carrots mature in cold weather, they naturally store more sugar to protect themselves from frost, and that's what gives you that crisp, earthy sweetness when you bite into them. To start, make sure your soil is loose and free from stones. Carrots need space to stretch downwards. If the soil is compacted, they'll twist and fork. Mix in some compost, but skip fresh manure. It can make the roots split. Sow your seeds directly into the soil in shallow rows about 1/2 inch deep. Sprinkle them thinly and cover lightly with fine soil. Carrot seeds are tiny, so it's okay if they're a bit close together. You'll thin them out later once the seedlings appear. Water gently with a fine mist, not a heavy stream, or you'll wash the seeds away. Keep the soil damp, and you'll start to see little feathery leaves in about 10 to 14 days. Once they sprout, thin them out to about 2 inches apart to give each root enough space to grow straight and strong. Carrots love full sun, but will still grow in partial shade this time of year. Here's a small secret. Cover the rows with a thin fleece or cloth. It'll keep the soil just warm enough to encourage steady growth even through chilly nights. And here's a fun bonus tip. Don't pull all your carrots at once. Leave a few in the ground through winter. The cold will make them even sweeter. You can literally harvest as you need them, fresh from the soil to your plate. Next up, let's talk about peas, another cool weather favorite that actually thrives in November. Peas don't like heat, which is why this month is their perfect window. When you plant them now, they'll quietly establish roots through winter and burst into strong leafy growth as soon as spring sunlight strengthens. Start by choosing a sunny spot with well-draining soil. Peas hate soggy ground. Dig a shallow trench about 1 inch deep, drop in your seeds about 2 inches apart, and gently cover them with soil. If you're growing in containers, use a deep pot and give them something to climb, like bamboo sticks or a small trellis. Water lightly after sowing, just enough to settle the soil around the seeds. Keep them moist but never waterlogged. In about 2 weeks, you'll notice little sprouts reaching for the light. That's your cue to add a bit of support, because peas love to climb early. Use twine, netting, or sticks, anything they can grab onto. The beauty of sowing peas in November is that they're hardy. A light frost won't harm them. In fact, it helps toughen them up. Here's something I love doing: sowing a few batches a week apart. This way, your peas don't all ripen at once, and you can enjoy a steady harvest later.
Bonus tip: plant a few cloves of garlic nearby. Garlic naturally repels aphids, and peas, in return, help enrich the soil with nitrogen. That's what I call a win-win friendship in the garden. Watching your pea vines climb and bloom through winter is such a rewarding sight. And come spring, when you pick those first sweet pods and taste them raw, you'll see exactly why November sowing is worth the effort. Now, let's talk about one of the toughest and most reliable crops you can sow in November: broad beans. If you've never grown them before, this is the perfect time to start. Broad beans are true cold weather champions. They actually prefer to germinate in cool soil and can handle frost far better than most plants. In fact, planting them now gives you a huge advantage. The roots grow strong through winter, and come early spring, they'll shoot up fast and produce pods weeks before anyone else's. To sow, dig a shallow trench about 2 inches deep and space the seeds 8 inches apart. Place each bean gently in the soil, then cover and press down lightly. Water thoroughly after planting, and that's it. They'll take care of themselves from there. Choose a sunny or partly sunny spot with well-draining soil. Broad beans don't like to sit in water, especially during colder months. If you're growing in containers, make sure they're deep and have holes at the bottom for drainage. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll notice sturdy little shoots breaking through the surface, dark green and full of energy. It's an amazing sight in winter when most gardens look asleep. As they grow taller, give them some support with canes or stakes, especially if your area gets strong winds. And here's something many gardeners don't know. Pinching the tops of broad bean plants once they start flowering helps them produce more pods and keeps black flies away. Oh, and a little secret. If you plant broad beans alongside spinach or garlic, they help each other out. The beans fix nitrogen in the soil, feeding your leafy greens naturally. Come spring, you'll be harvesting firm green pods filled with sweet, buttery beans. There's something so satisfying about shelling your own broad beans from plants you started in the cold of November. It's like harvesting hope from the frost. And finally, let's wrap up this section with a small but mighty herb, parsley. Parsley is one of those plants that quietly transforms your cooking, and November is an excellent time to sow it. While most people give up planting herbs when the temperature drops, parsley actually prefers cool weather to get started. The seeds may take their time to germinate, but once they do, you'll have lush, fragrant greens right through winter. Start by soaking your parsley seeds in warm water for a few hours before planting. It softens the outer coating and helps them sprout faster. Then, scatter them over rich, moist soil and cover very lightly, just about 1/4 inch deep. Keep the soil damp but not waterlogged. Parsley likes a consistent level of moisture and partial sunlight. A sunny windowsill, greenhouse, or even a sheltered balcony works beautifully. The seeds can take up to 3 weeks to germinate, so don't lose patience. Once they do, those tiny green shoots will slowly thicken into bushy plants with beautiful curly or flat leaves, depending on your variety. Here's my favorite thing about parsley. It's incredibly forgiving. It can handle mild frost, it regrows after cutting, and it stays fresh for months. The more you trim it, the thicker it becomes. Bonus tip: plant parsley near your carrots or onions. It naturally repels pests and attracts beneficial insects like ladybugs, which keep your garden balanced.
And here's one more secret. If you let a few parsley plants flower in spring, they'll self-seed. That means you'll have new plants popping up next year without lifting a finger. Fresh parsley straight from your November garden adds flavor to everything. Soups, roasts, stews, or just a sprinkle on top of your favorite dish. It's small, simple, and endlessly rewarding. All right, now that we've covered which seeds to sow, let's talk about how to sow and care for them the right way. Because getting this part right is what turns a handful of seeds into a thriving garden. First things first, the soil. November soil tends to be damp and dense, so you'll want to loosen it up. Grab a fork or a small hand trowel and break it apart gently. Mix in some compost or well-rotted organic matter to improve drainage and boost nutrients. Think of it like preparing a warm bed for your seeds. Soft, breathable, and rich. A good rule of thumb is that your soil should crumble in your hands, not stick together. Next, spacing and depth. This step makes or breaks your results. A simple trick is to plant your seeds at a depth that's roughly twice their size. Small seeds like lettuce or spinach only need a light dusting of soil, while bigger ones like beans or garlic cloves go a bit deeper. Leave enough space between plants. about the width of your hand for most vegetables. Crowded plants compete for light and water, and that means smaller harvests. So give them room to breathe. Now let's talk watering. In November, the air is cool, so your soil doesn't dry out quickly. Overwatering is one of the most common mistakes. Instead of soaking the ground, water gently with a fine spray. Keep the soil moist to the touch, not soggy. Morning watering is best. It lets any excess moisture dry during the day and keeps your plants healthy. For those of you in areas where frost hits hard, here's a lifesaver: frost protection. A simple sheet of garden fleece, an old bed sheet, or even plastic covers can protect your seedlings from sudden cold snaps. You don't need fancy gear, just cover your plants at night and uncover them in the morning to let in light and air. This simple habit can save your crops. As for feeding, your young plants don't need much right away. The compost you mixed earlier will handle most of their needs. But once they start to grow, you can give them a light feeding every 2 weeks. Something natural like compost tea or liquid seaweed. And don't forget the light. Even weak winter sunlight works wonders. Place containers or trays near bright spots, windows, porches, or sun-facing walls. The more light, the stronger your seedlings. Before we wrap up this section, here's my go-to seed starter mix for November. 50% compost, 30% perlite, and 20% sand. This blend keeps things light, drains well, and still holds enough moisture for seeds to germinate perfectly. It's simple, affordable, and makes a world of difference, especially if you're growing indoors or in trays. So, to sum it up, loose soil, proper spacing, gentle watering, frost cover, and a bit of patience, that's all your November garden really needs. Now, before you rush off to sow your seeds, let's take a moment to go over the most common mistakes gardeners make in November and a few simple hacks that'll make your garden grow stronger than ever. Mistake number 1, overwatering cold soil. When it's chilly outside, the soil doesn't dry out quickly. Many gardeners keep watering out of habit, and the result? Seeds rot before they even sprout. The fix is simple. Check your soil with your finger. If it's still slightly damp an inch down, skip watering that day. Your seeds need moisture, not a swimming pool. Mistake number 2, planting too deep. Another classic error is planting seeds too deep. In cold weather, warmth and light are limited, and burying seeds too far down delays or prevents germination. Remember this, the smaller the seed, the shallower it goes. When in doubt, less soil is better than too much.
Mistake number 3, ignoring frost protection. Some people think hardy plants can survive anything, but even the strongest seedlings appreciate a bit of cover on freezing nights. A frost cloth, plastic dome, or even an upturned jar can make a huge difference. Protecting them now means a stronger harvest later. Mistake number 4, skipping labels. Now, we've all done it, planting several rows of seeds and thinking, I'll remember what's what. Trust me, by next week, you won't. Always label your rows or trays right after sowing. It saves you from confusing your kale with your lettuce later. Mistake number 5, neglecting soil health. Cold months make it tempting to skip feeding the soil, but that's when your plants need it most. Before planting, always refresh your soil with compost or aged manure. Healthy soil equals healthy plants every single time. Now for the fun part, a few of my favorite sowing hacks. Pre-soak tough seeds like parsley and peas overnight in warm water to help them sprout faster. Use a mini greenhouse effect. Cover seed trays with cling film or clear lids to lock in warmth. Add a pinch of cinnamon to the soil surface. It's a natural antifungal that helps prevent damping off in seedlings. Rotate trays every few days if you're growing indoors, so your seedlings don't lean toward the light. And plant in small batches. Instead of sowing all your seeds at once, spread them out weekly to enjoy a steady harvest. All right, let's take a quick look back at everything we've covered today. We talked about the 10 incredible seeds you can sow in November: spinach, radishes, kale, garlic, onions, lettuce, carrots, peas, broad beans, and parsley. We learned how each one thrives in the cool season and how to plant them for the best results. You also saw how to prepare your soil, space your seeds, water wisely, and protect your plants from frost. Then we covered a few mistakes to avoid and my personal hacks for faster germination and stronger plants. Gardening in November isn't about doing more. It's about working smarter. Even in cold weather, life is still growing under the surface, waiting for the right moment to bloom. So, next time you step outside and see your garden resting, remember, it's not resting at all. It's preparing. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about what to sow in November. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. It helps more gardeners discover this content, and it lets me know you'd like more seasonal guides like this one. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week we're diving into what not to plant in December. And trust me, it'll save you a lot of wasted seeds and frustration. Before you go, drop a comment and tell me what you're sowing this month. I'd love to hear what's growing in your garden. Maybe I'll feature your comment in the next video. And if you want to download my November seed checklist, check the pinned comment below. It's free and perfect for tracking what you've planted. Until next time, keep your hands dirty, your heart full, and your garden growing. See you in the next one.